96, 1 through 13. I would always encourage you to also look in your own Bible, or at least write things down. I don't think you should ever take a preacher, a pastor, or a speaker at his word. It should be here. You should be able to prove that it's here. Psalms 96, 1 through 13. And then we want to go back and kind of look at some of these verses and how we can apply it to our life and hopefully make worship more interesting. Psalms 96, 1 through 13 goes like this. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, praise His name. Proclaim His salvation day after day. Declare His glory among the nations, His marvelous deeds among all people. For great is the Lord, and most worthy of praise. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before Him. Strength and glory are in His sanctuary. Ascribe to the Lord, O families of nations. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due His name. Bring an offering and come into His courts. Worship the Lord in the splendor of His holiness. Tremble before Him all the earth. Say among the nations, the Lord reigns. The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved. He will judge the peoples with equity. Let the heavens rejoice, let the earth be glad, let the seas resound, and let all that is in it. Let the fields be jubilant and everything in them. Then all the trees of the forest will sing for joy. They will sing before the Lord, for He comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness and His peoples that are in truth. So skipping around in some of these verses, who is to be worshipped? The Lord is to be worshipped. It's all about Him. Back in verse 1 or verse 2, it's all about Him that should be worshipped. You know, a lot of times when we come to our churches and we come to situations, we get in things where, whether it be a concert or whether it be a church service or anything else, we can get to the point where we worship a building. Now I want to tell you something I've noticed in the last three weeks of being with you. You do have a beautiful, beautiful building. I don't think I'm telling you anything that you don't know. But one of the most amazing things that I've watched about it is two things. You have done a great job, and many of you take part in this. So I wouldn't dare try to say this person does it, because I know you all have. You've done a great job taking care of it in the last 3 years. But you know what you don't do? You don't worship it. You use it. And God blesses you for using it. You know, a lot of times in our churches, we get to the point where, I don't know about you, but I've seen churches, and we have, of course, in the denomination I came from, we had monthly business meetings, and I've watched business meetings get completely out of hand. Over the color of a carpet. Over the wattage of a light bulb. Now, I know you think, well, you're just making that up. No, I have seen it. Just silliness, because we start worshiping a building. But God is the only one that should be worshipped for all the things that He has done for you. Well, what is worship? To worship means to fall on your face or bow down before God. It is mentioned 170 times in the Bible. Now, let's be honest. When is the last time that you have fell down on your face? Now, each of us can answer our own answer there. But you know what? Now, it doesn't always mean that we do it in a physical form. Sometimes it is in spiritual form. But what if we did it both? What if the Spirit of God is so strong? Another oxymoron. The Spirit of the Lord is so strong that you can't have any choice but to be developed, to be enveloped, to be so consumed by it that you can't stand on your feet. Been in those services when the Spirit of God is so heavy that you can't even breathe. So why is it that all the time? It's us. We're the obstacle that comes to that, because a lot of times, right now already, in some of your minds, you're thinking, okay, it's 10:16. Actually, the big clock you can. 10:16, but you got the little clock on your watch, on your wrist, or your cell phone somewhere. He's going to probably speak for another 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll get out of here. And I've got supper going to be ready on the table, and your mind goes everywhere else. Or I've got to go to Walmart this afternoon. Or I've got to do this afternoon. Or I've got to do that this afternoon. And the next thing you know, we're way off somewhere else instead of being right here in worship. You know what? The preacher, the pastor, the speaker can be just as guilty as anybody else. And we miss such opportunities to have amazing worship because our minds wander all over the place. Before I go any farther, can I get you to come to a place that you're just focused on what God has for you? Is He worthy or not of your worship? Yes. Everything that you have is because of Him. Every breath that you breathe is because of Him. He is very worthy of our worship. Well, then how should we worship? Verse 1 says that we should worship in music, which we do a good job of. But you know, the thing is, God has blessed many of you with talents. It's obvious, first time I heard, I guess last week's first time I heard the choir sing. He's blessed you with talents. Never not use them. If you play something, play it. If you sing, sing. If you're a banger on something, bang on it. The whole point being is worship God. Now think about all the things that animals do. You know, we know about the rocks. We know that the birds are just chirping away. You ever wake up one morning, you get that one certain bird. I can't remember where I lived, but I had this one bird every morning come to my window and just, and I'm thinking, and it's about 2 hours before I need, well, it's 2 hours before I wanted to get up. But he had other plans. I was complaining one day to my grandpa about that. He said, Michael, you know what that bird's doing, don't you? And I said, what? He said, he's praising the Lord. All God's creation worship Him and praise Him, except for a lot of times His most prized creation. That's us. So we should worship Him with music. Verse 2, we should proclaim what He has done and give Him glory for all that He has done. Verse 8, by bringing an offering. You know, a lot of times we think that an offering is monetary. It's all about money. A lot of times to have true worship, it's a sacrifice. Now I'm going to try to really quick tie this into a sacrifice that's happening in our life. All three of my daughters have been preemies. And as we have continued to go on in our life, and Sierra was 12, Alicia was 10 and a half. When we found out in 2005 that Sherry was expecting Madison. We were excited about it, but we were also afraid of it because we knew what we were in for. Every child had come so early that Sherry was going to be in the hospital for a month, sometimes 2 months at a time, waiting for the baby to come. So in January of January of 2005, we were. It was New Year's Day. We were sitting around the house. She started having contractions. So she said, something's going on. She said, give me some Tylenol and I'll be all right. I said, no, we're not going this route. Been there, done that. So we went to see the doctor, and she said, you know what, you've got contractions. We're going to have to move you on. So they moved us to Centennial Hospital. We were there for 26 days. And in those 26 days, everything went pretty well. I was asking God to show up and asking God to show up. And of course, He was always there with us. They sent us home from that hospital. We were going to spend one night at Livingston Hospital, and then they were going to send us back home because they thought she was far enough along. Well, during that one night, the baby's heartbeat, Madison's heartbeat, was dropping on the backside, and they said, we're going to have to go in and take her. We're not sure what's going on, but we're going to have to go in and take her. So they go inside, and they open Sherry up, they see the emergency C-section. They get her out, and I heard Madison cry, and I thought that's what I needed to hear. And I looked over there, and she was almost the color of Larry's shirt. It's blue, if you can't see his shirt. And I was thinking, that's probably not the color she needs to be. And within about 2 or 3 hours, my family got separated because Vanderbilt showed up to get Madison. And they came in with the Angel ambulance, and Sierra and Sherry stayed at Livingston Hospital, and me and Alicia tried to call the ambulance to Nashville. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. It was raining pretty hard, and you should never try to keep up with an ambulance anyway. There's no point having somebody else injured in the situation. So we're traveling down I-40, and in my mind, I'm not saying anything. At least I'm not talking. You ever deal with people when something's going on and you're talking, but you're not talking? You know, your spirits are talking. We're just sitting there going, and we get to, and I always forget the name of this. It's either Linwood or Linville exit, right past Alexandria. Anybody know what the exit is? Linwood. Whatever it is, that's what it is. And as I passed it, I noticed on the right, I thought, that's odd. 3 o'clock in the morning, the station's closed, and there's an ambulance parked there, but I just kept on trucking. And when I got to Nashville, I took 440 around to get to Vanderbilt. When I got to Vanderbilt, Children's, it's the first time I'd ever been there, and I was trying to find a parking spot. Get the parking spot, trying to find where we're going, don't know where to go. And so we finally got to see the ambulance backing up. So I thought, well, this ambulance can tell us where we're supposed to go. The ambulance backs up, and I get to where the ambulance is, and they're bringing out a baby, and it's Madison. Now, the last person she saw going in the ambulance at Livingston was her dad. The first person that she saw coming out of the ambulance at Vanderbilt was her daddy. How is that possible? That was that ambulance at that gas station. So I don't know if God may run out of gas or not, but it needed to get fuel. Gave us a chance to catch up. So we get to Vanderbilt. We go up to the NICU unit. We get up there. They put her in. She said, "Mr. Long, everything's going to be okay. She just needs a little bit of help. You need to go get some rest." I'm like, "Yeah, right." And so they put you in these little cubicle rooms. They'll give you sleeping if you've ever been there before. We get in there and it's dark. It's not really dark, but it's trying to go to sleep. Alicia's tired. She goes to sleep, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the wall because I don't know about you. I like a really dark room to sleep in. So I'm in this room, and it's supposed to be really dark, and there's this flashing neon light outside on the wall. It's not really saying anything. It's broken, so it doesn't say the word that it's supposed to say, but it's flashing on the wall. And I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to go to sleep in this. Lord, where are you in this situation? And I felt him saying, Mike, if you'll worship me, you will feel me. You will be able to touch me. You will be able to smell me. Okay? And I got out of bed and I fell on my knees and said, Lord, I need you. Show me that you're here. Be online. Be online. And all of a sudden I look down and I'm thinking, all right, Lord, I'm trying to be obedient. There's a smack on the window, and I thought, great, a bird has flown into the window. And I look up, and they're on the wall, and there's this glob on the wall that it's got a big light, and it's a glob, and it's a light, and it's a glob. And I'm thinking, what is up with that? But it's a bug. And next thing you know, the bug spreads its wings like this, and it's a praying mantis. And if you take a praying mantis, you put a light behind him, and he spreads his wings like this, the next thing I know, there's a cross on the wall, there's a cross on the wall, there's a cross on the wall. Within 30 seconds, God said, Mike, I'm here. Always here. I've always been here. Where is your worship? Don't worship me just when things are good. Worship me no matter what's going on in your life. And all of a sudden he was there. There's a lot more of that story. I don't want to bore you with it. I'll share with you hopefully many years that we're here with you. But no matter where you are, no matter what's going on in your life, you've got to worship. Why should we worship? In verse 2, because God has saved us. You remember when you got saved and you came to an altar, I don't know if it was this altar or the altar of another church or wherever it is that you were saved at, and you felt that overwhelming presence of God in your life, and you're like, I have got to tell everyone what God has done for me. And over the years, the fire's kind of dwindled down a little bit. But that's not because of God, it's because of us. We have separated ourselves from Him and stuff in our life. Can I encourage you that this morning, sometimes the reason that we don't worship is because, or should I say, that we're not worshiping God is because we're worshiping too many other things. And a lot of times it's our work. Sometimes it can be our spouse, our family. God has got to be first in everything that we do. Now, where are we to worship? We'll close in just a second. Where are we to worship? We're to worship among the Lord in all the nations, in His sanctuary, in His courts. When are we to worship? Verse 2 calls us to sing and proclaim His salvation day after day. 4 imperatives of worship. Exalt His name, which is found in verse 1 and 2. Extend His kingdom, which is in verse 2b through 3. Express His greatness, which is verses 4 through 9. And expect His coming, which is in verses 10 through 13. Now let's take just 1 second and look at these 4 things. Exalt His name. Why should I exalt His name? Guys, we should be in a place in our lives where no matter where we are, that we should exalt God in everything that we do. People should see that in us. Why? Because He's given us everything. We should bubble over in that exaltation. Extend His kingdom. You know, a lot of times in our churches, we get to the point where it's all about here. Well, let me promise you something. I believe everything happens in a church to grow in 2 ways. First of all,